My partner expressed a desire for an open relationship. Consequently, I observed her gradually distance herself, found solace in her best friend, and began to reclaim my own happiness. Hello, Reddit. I never imagined I would share my relationship experiences here, but I feel the need to vent and perhaps seek some advice. At 28 years old, male, I believed my relationship with Sophie, 27 female, was solid until recently. After 3 years of dating and 2 years of cohabitation, everything seemed perfect. I was even discreetly looking for engagement rings during my lunch breaks. It's a pretty typical story. Mutual friends introduced us during a game night. She laughed at my silly jokes. I appreciated her competitive spirit in Monopoly, and we hit it off. After a year of dating, it felt natural to move in together since we were always at each other's places. Our routines were established, you know? Sunday morning pancakes, evening strolls in the park, watching her favorite cringeworthy reality shows while I played games on my phone, just the usual couple things. Sophie works in marketing while I manage construction projects. Our families got along well, and we both had fulfilling careers and friends. My mother adores her, and her father often invites me to football matches. We were that couple that inspired hope in others regarding relationships. Yeah, it sounds familiar now. Everything was fine until Tuesday. Dinner was on the table. Sophie was discussing a work project while I munched on my sandwich when she suddenly asked, "What do you think about trying an open relationship?" I froze mid-bite, fork suspended in the air. I thought I must have misheard her, but she continued. She mentioned that she had been reading about it online, that many couples were exploring this option, and that it might help us grow and strengthen our bond. I asked, "Is there someone specific you want to date?" Because that was my immediate instinct. Open relationships are usually brought up when someone has someone in mind, right? Sophie became defensive. No, it's not about anyone else. I just think it would be beneficial for us to explore ourselves more. We're still young, and I don't want us to wake up in 10 years wondering what we missed out on. Sitting there, I tried to grasp what was happening. When a waitress smiled at me a bit too much, Sophie became upset. Her new dating advice felt like suggesting we try a different restaurant. I asked, "Have you been feeling unhappy?" Just in case I missed something, maybe I should have picked up on some signs. "Not at all," she replied, taking my hand across the table. "I love you. I love us. This isn't about being unhappy. It's about enhancing our relationship. Think about it. We could both have new experiences, but still come home to each other. Many couples claim it strengthens their connection. I was at a loss for words. My thoughts were caught between confusion and panic. My appetite vanished. The food in front of me felt like cardboard. Sophie, however, was animated, almost glowing. She kept discussing norms, boundaries, and communication. But I kept wondering, where is this coming from? Yet I said, "Okay?" I realized this sounded weak. Not because I wanted to. Not because I believed in it. But the desire in her eyes and the way she leaned in, practically begging for my approval, indicated she had already made up her mind. Saying no felt like shutting a door she didn't want to close. "Are you sure you're okay with this?" she asked, wide-eyed and anxious, as if she were giving me a choice. "We don't have to if you're not comfortable." I could see her desperation for my approval. I understood this wasn't just a fleeting thought. Something was shifting between us, whether I liked it or not. To uncover what was happening, I had to go along with it. "No, it's fine," I nodded. "If you think it'll be good for us, we can give it a try." I stepped into something I didn't believe in, fully aware that I was losing her. She became ecstatic and began discussing how we could set up dating app profiles together and how we should inform each other about upcoming dates, all of which she seemed to have already planned. I sat there wondering, how long had she been thinking about this? The rest of the night felt strange. We watched TV as usual, but my mind was racing. Sophie cuddled with me on the couch, acting as if everything was perfectly fine, as if she hadn't just suggested altering our relationship. I kept wanting to return to the conversation and tell her I wasn't happy. I had no idea how to express that. Every time I saw her scrolling through her phone with a smile, I felt like I had made a monumental mistake. That night in bed, sleep eluded me. Sophie lay next to me, calm and serene, while I stared at the ceiling, contemplating what I had done. Part of me wanted to wake her and confess that I didn't want to share her. Another part of me was terrified. I feared she would go through with it or leave me if I said no. As I lay there, I replayed our recent conversations, trying to see if I had missed any signs. Was she bored? Was I not enough? Was there someone else? I had no answers to the questions that kept surfacing. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of the turmoil. Sophie asked me to help her choose photos for her Tinder and Bumble profiles all evening, as if I were a partner in this endeavor. She even asked me to take new pictures of her. Yes, seriously. I took pictures of my girlfriend to make her appealing to other men. I created my own profile to show my effort. My heart wasn't in it. Writing a bio felt awkward and disingenuous every time. What should I write? Looking for fun while dating? I felt terrible all over. She probably knew I wouldn't meet anyone. I told her multiple times that I wasn't social and didn't have the time or energy to meet new people. Maybe she thought she could date while keeping me as a backup. Sophie got matches quickly. Her beauty and charm were evident. I was most shocked by how fast she connected with these guys. Within a week, she had 3 dates lined up. 3. She showed me their profiles as if we were discussing celebrity crushes. She thrust her phone in my face, saying, "Look at this one. He's a personal trainer at that upscale gym downtown. We're grabbing coffee tomorrow." I nodded, pretending this was normal. I felt nauseous the first time she dressed up for a date. I had never seen her wear black before. For this, she bought new outfits. She spent an hour on her makeup. She twirled as she left our bedroom. "How do I look?" she exclaimed. "Great," I replied, knowing that dress probably cost more than what she spent on our date nights. She returned home late that night, laughing. I pretended to be asleep when she came to bed, but I heard her texting for an hour. The next morning, she hummed while making coffee and acted as if everything was perfect. I noticed her schedule. Monday was coffee with the gym guy. Wednesday was dinner with a lawyer. A food truck owner and I had drinks on Friday. The variety was intriguing. She always came home looking like she had the time of her life. I checked the Instagram locations she tagged. Not my proudest moment, but I needed to know the truth. I drove by the restaurant where she claimed she was dining one night. She was at the bar with a tall man in a suit, laughing. She held his arm and looked at him the way she used to look at me. The distance between us grew. Her changes at home were worse than seeing her with these guys. She spent less time with me, and the cuddling stopped. She texted constantly. Our Sunday pancake tradition? She was out with the girls for brunch. I once brought it up with her. "Don't you think you're going on a lot of dates?" I asked casually. She looked at me as if I were foolish. "That's the whole point of an open relationship, isn't it? To meet new people and have experiences? You should try it too. I can help you with your profile if you want." But I didn't want help with a profile. I wanted my girlfriend back. I missed the person who loved ordering pizza and watching terrible movies with me, not this new version who always dressed up and left. She was preparing for date number 6 or 7 one night. I lost count. I couldn't take it anymore. I went for a walk to clear my head and ended up at a picnic spot. I sat there for 2 hours, contemplating how quickly everything had unraveled. Sophie's messages buzzed my phone. "Hope you're okay. Don't wait. Have a great time." Each message twisted the knife deeper. She tried to tell me about her date the next day, how funny he was, and how he took her to this fantastic new restaurant. Standing up, I left the room. She followed me, looking confused. "I thought you were okay with this," she said, shocked. "Yeah, maybe I'm not," I replied. "But you could be dating too. You're choosing to stay home and be miserable?" That's when I realized she didn't understand. She didn't get that I didn't want more dates. I wanted her old self. I liked our mundane, normal past together. 3 weeks had passed since she initiated this open relationship. 3 weeks of watching her dress up for other men and lying awake wondering where she was, what she was doing, and who she was with. My thoughts spiraled for 3 weeks. I thought she'd eventually see how absurd this was. I kept waiting for her to wake up and realize what she was throwing away. But she didn't, without a second thought, not a hint of guilt. She took pride in it. She moved through life as if she had discovered a new level of dating that we were too naive to grasp. The worst part? I couldn't understand why. It seemed she liked me. Why destroy everything? Why claim we didn't have enough? It finally dawned on me. This was irreparable, no going back. The end was final. For once, I wasn't sure I cared. I was motivated by the thought of her living freely while I was drowning in despair. I wanted her to regret everything, to realize what she had lost. I had no plan yet. I knew I wouldn't suffer while she enjoyed herself. I didn't know what to do next, but I needed to talk to someone who would understand how messed up this was. Emma started coming around more often. Emma, Sophie's best friend since their freshman year in college. She joined us for movie nights, helped us rearrange furniture, and brought soup when someone was under the weather. One of those genuinely kind people, you know? Being a kindergarten teacher suits her because she makes everyone feel valued and heard. I always viewed her as Sophie's friend. Though attractive, with long brown hair and green eyes, always smiling, I had placed her in the friend zone. Additionally, she had been in a relationship with Mark for 2 years. However, they broke up months ago. She first came over after Sophie initiated her open relationship to borrow mixing bowls for a birthday cake. Sophie went out with a new guy, and Emma noticed something was off with me. "You look awful," she said bluntly. "What's going on?" Although I hadn't planned to share everything, it all came out. I explained how Sophie proposed the open relationship to me, how she was dating different guys almost every night. I felt insane witnessing it all. Emma listened intently, truly listened, not just waiting for her turn to speak. After I finished, she shook her head. "That's not an open relationship," she said. "That's just Sophie doing whatever she wants without considering how it affects you." Hearing it from someone else made me feel less crazy. After that, Emma started visiting more frequently, usually while Sophie was out on dates. We watched movies, ordered takeout, and just hung out. It was nice to talk to someone who understood both of us and the situation. One night, Emma seemed concerned after Sophie had been dating for a month. I noticed her fiddling with her phone, and I could tell she wanted to say something. Finally, she spoke up. "You know, I think you deserve someone who truly values you and your feelings. This situation with Sophie doesn't seem fair to you at all." Her words resonated deeply. I had been feeling increasingly isolated and undervalued in my relationship, and hearing someone else acknowledge that was both comforting and painful. Emma continued, "You shouldn't have to compromise your happiness for someone who doesn't seem to appreciate what you bring to the table." As the weeks went by, Emma's support became a lifeline for me. We shared more about our lives, and I found myself looking forward to her visits. It was refreshing to have someone who genuinely cared about my well-being. I began to realize that I had been so focused on trying to make things work with Sophie that I had neglected my own needs and desires. One evening, after a particularly tough day, I confided in Emma about my fears and frustrations. "I just don't know how to approach Sophie about all of this. I feel like I've lost her, and I don't know how to get her back." Emma looked at me with empathy. "You need to be honest with her about how you feel. It's important for both of you to understand where you stand. If she truly cares about you, she'll want to know how this is affecting you." Her advice struck a chord. I knew I had to confront Sophie about the reality of our situation. I needed to express my feelings and set boundaries, even if it meant risking the relationship. The next time Sophie came home from a date, I took a deep breath and sat her down. "We need to talk," I said, my heart racing. I explained how I felt lost and unhappy, how the open relationship had created a chasm between us rather than bringing us closer. I told her that I missed the connection we once had and that I didn't want to share her with anyone else. Sophie listened, but her reaction was not what I had hoped for. She seemed defensive and dismissive, insisting that this was a phase and that I should embrace the experience. It was clear that she was not ready to acknowledge the impact her choices were having on me. After that conversation, I felt a sense of clarity. I realized that I couldn't continue in a relationship where my feelings were not being valued. I began to focus on my own happiness, spending time with friends and pursuing interests that brought me joy. As I distanced myself from Sophie, I found myself growing closer to Emma. Our friendship deepened, and I started to see her in a new light. She was kind, supportive, and genuinely interested in my well-being. Eventually, I had to make a decision. I knew I had to end things with Sophie for my own mental health. It was a difficult choice, but I felt empowered knowing that I was prioritizing my happiness. In the end, I learned that it's essential to communicate openly in a relationship and to prioritize your own needs. While the experience was painful, it ultimately led me to a place of self-discovery and growth. Emma became a significant part of my life, and I realized that sometimes the best connections come from unexpected places.